maintain your composure. And I know it is the hardest thing to do as a parent. You got so much going on in the background. If you're mad at your kids or your kids is creating a ruckus, that's one thing. And then the person that you got to deal with, if it's a baby daddy, a baby mama, or how the case is, you got to deal with that madness. And there's always something happening. So I'm going to share some of my experiences and how I maintain my composure. And I can tell you that I have been pushed to the brink of damn near having to slap somebody. And this is coming from me. Now, I am not a violent person. I don't condone hitting women at all. I don't condone men hitting women and women hitting men. I don't condone either or. I don't believe that a person should be able to get under your skin so bad to the point where you have to physically put your hands on them. You can say all the words you want to, but to physically have to put your hands on somebody, I just think there's no situation that will cause for that. Well, there are certain situations that do cause for it, but I think between two parents, I don't think there's a situation that calls for you have to put your hands on me in any kind of disrespectful manner. But that's just my opinion. Everybody is different. Some people just like to physically rage out, and if that's what you want to do, you know there's consequences that's going to come behind that. This weekend, I lost my cool. Let me tell you why I lost my cool. For the last 15 years, I have been taking care of my son. Doctor's appointments, graduations, the whole 9 yards. I've been doing literally everything with no kind of financial help or the minimum financial help from his mother. Now, I didn't require her to pay me anything. I didn't require her to do too much anything. My only request was to be a mother. Instead, I don't believe that she's being a mother. I think she's more so being a friend than a mother. That's kind of how the absent parent operates. Since they have less time with the child, they're more so going to be a friend than they are going to be a parent. And I understand every woman's stance when it comes to baby daddies. I understand it because I'm on the other end now. So the little things that I ask her for, I don't get. The little understanding that I try to get from her, I don't get. When I try to communicate with her, the communication doesn't go well. So then we end up in situations where we just don't communicate at all, and we end up talking through our child. Now, this is not the best form of communication. She believes that I talk condescending, like I talk down to her. I don't try to talk down to her. I try to talk to her at her level, but sometimes if your grade level is, 8th grade, it's a little difficult. I'm going to be honest, it's a little difficult. So I can't use big words. And then I can't sound like I'm talking down to her. So then I try to talk to her at her level, then I'm talking condescending. I prefer to use text message because text messages just can't be interpreted and they can be ignored. So I don't have to reply and I can just make up whatever excuse I need to make up for why I didn't answer the text message. And most of the time it's stupid anyways. So let's start with this weekend. I know when my son's on some bullshit. I know when he on some bullshit. I can see it from a mile away. He's my son. All parents know when their kids be on that bullshit. I'm driving home from work. I get a text message that said, "Hey, Dad." Now, normally when he say, "Hey, Dad," it comes with the next text message right behind it. Now, I don't understand why he don't put everything in one text message. He separates the text message. It's like the most annoying thing ever. It is so annoying. Put it all in one text message. Time is money. And I am wasting time waiting for this second text message to come through. So he texts me, "Hey, Dad." I'm waiting. Nothing else comes through. I'm like, see, it's about to be some bullshit. I can see it now. He don't even understand his own patterns. He don't even understand them. So when he texted me that first piece, I already knew it was going to be some bullshit. All right, let's keep it moving. I said yes. I did like an auto reply, like a little smart reply. So I said yes. So he comes back and says, "I'm getting my hair done in 2 weeks. And it's on the same day as my eye appointment. Can you reschedule the eye appointment?" Now, the eye appointment had already rescheduled from 3 months ago. And 3 months ago, I was going to take him to go to his eye appointment, but he was supposed to go to his mom's house for the summer. So I said, hey, tell your mom that you got an eye appointment coming up, and she's going to have to take you there. It's at 4:30. You know what she did? She said, you know what? I'm not going to pick you up this weekend, but I'll pick you up next weekend. So she didn't have the responsibility of taking him to his eye appointment. So the responsibility ended up falling on me to take him to his eye appointment. I said, okay, that's fine. I didn't say nothing. Like, all right, fine. She can pick you up a week later. But then the doctors called me from the eye appointment and said that they're not going to be able to do it. Something about the doctor wasn't going to be in or something that happened. So I had to reschedule. So I was like, all right, well, since he's going to leave for the summer, I'll just reschedule to the beginning of the school year. Just to let you know, I get my son eyes checked every year. I get his eyes checked every year. And this year is no different. Right before the school year, take him to a doctor's appointment, take him to an eye appointment. And we get those things knocked out. We both go at the same time. We go ahead and get them knocked out unless something else comes up where we have to just go throughout the year. We pretty much go during, either mid-summer or a little bit before the summer. And I'll make sure we keep it routine and annual. So we get to this point, and I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to reschedule your eye appointment. You need to go ahead and reschedule your hair appointment. He's like, well, that's the first appointment that they have prior to the start of school. Now, my son has locks, and he wants to get them dyed, which I am not really opposed to. That's kind of what this generation likes to do, is dye their hair. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. The problem I have is that this was scheduled on a day of his appointment, which is on his calendar and is on my calendar. And I keep telling him, check your calendar before you schedule things. Don't schedule things without checking your calendar first. Because if you go scheduling things without checking your calendar, you're going to end up overlapping something. His appointment is at 9 o'clock in the morning for his hairstyle. And for his eyeglass appointment, it's at 4:30. Now, the distance between where they're at, it's roughly about 20-25 minutes, depending on how fast you drive. The problem comes in is that the style that he's getting, I already know what's going to happen. I used to take my son to the salon to get his hair twisted, like professionally, before his mom started doing it. And it would take about 2 or 3 hours just to wash, dry, retwist, and then dry his hair. Now he's getting it dyed. So those 3 hours is looking more like 5 to 6 hours. And now, if my calculations are correct, if they start at 9, they're not going to make the 4:30 appointment. Especially if that person is doing other hairs in the midst of that. So if they're doing other hairs in the midst of that, they're not going to make the 4:30 appointment. They can try to make the 4:30 appointment, but I don't think they're going to make the 4:30 appointment. And if my memory serves me correctly, because if he's trying to get this color to take, and his hair is his hair is brown, black, whatever, how the case is, it's a dark color. In order for this color to take, they're probably going to have to bleach it first and then put the color in. So then that's going to take even longer. Now, somebody can email me or put in the comments whether I'm telling the truth or not. I from what I remember, this is what I remember. I figure it's going to take about 6 hours. My issue comes in is that we're putting more priority on a style for school than we are his eyesight. Now, you let me know if I'm in the wrong. And I lost my cool. Like, I lost my cool. Like, it destroyed my whole night. It destroyed my whole night because, let me tell you, I have been at every graduation. I have done everything and been to every event for my son. And when I asked his mother to come to these same events, 8th grade graduation, 5th grade graduation, whatever the graduations are, kindergarten graduation, all that stuff. Yeah, I know I'm reaching. And every other event and club that he was in that had events or award ceremonies, when I asked her to come, she can't get off of work. But somehow you can get off of work to take him to get his hair retwisted and dyed. But you couldn't take him to his eye appointment a few months ago. This is the part where I get frustrated. Because you're on that bullshit. So you do this little penny ante shit, but not do like the necessary shit. But then say, well, if he misses his appointment, I'll just take him to the next eye doctor appointment. Well, if you miss his eye doctor's appointment, you definitely gonna take him to the next eye doctor appointment. I'm not scheduling it. I'm not doing none of that shit. I'm not doing any of it. My son will not realize, and I know we can't talk bad about other parents in front of our kids. That's why I'm telling y'all about it. He needs to realize the type of person that he's dealing with. And I've been told this time and time again, he's blind to it. I get it. I understand. Look, I get it from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. But it's still frustrating to take all of this in and have to deal with it. And even if I decided to correct it, and I know some people gonna say, well, why you just didn't correct it? Why you just didn't have a conversation with her? If you have a baby mama, baby daddy, you already know you're going to have the conversation. You can have the conversation 5 times in the same day. You can have it 5 times, 1 for each week. You can have it 5 times, 1 for each month. You can have it 5 times, 1 for each year. The problem is that they're not going to step up. And I'm going to tell you how different we are. I put my son years ago. He was acting up in school, fooling. I put him in timeout. He went to his mama house. And when he came back, he was like, guess what, Dad? I said, what? Because I communicated with her and I said, look, he been acting up in school. He's on punishment. I would like for the punishment to continue when he goes over there. He's in trouble. Like, sit down and have a conversation with him. He can't watch TV. He can't do this. My son comes back the next day like, guess what, Dad? I said, what? I was watching TV this weekend. So I immediately called her and said, I thought we was on the same page. She's like, well, I didn't say that. He's not at punishment at my house. He's at punishment at your house. That right there let me know we were never going to be on the same page when it came to parenting. Never be on the same page. So this whole situation is not even surprising. It's the point of you allowing him to miss a doctor's appointment for a hairstyle when it can easily get pushed back. And she's like, well, I'll lose $100. Okay. I don't care if you lose $100. That's not my problem. I guess you should have figured that out before you decided to schedule the appointment. Did nobody call me before you scheduled the appointment? You called me after you scheduled the appointment and decided that I'm going to move my appointment? No, I'm not moving my appointment, because if he get into that school and he's sitting in that classroom and he telling me that his eyes hurt and he can't see the board, you already know what I'm about to say. Call your mama so she can take you to get your eyes checked. I'm not doing it. I'm just not going to do it. I have stepped up for my son. I have been there. I have did everything I was supposed to. And this is the reason why I lost my composure last night. I lost it. I lost it. And he knew I lost it. He knew I was already checked out of the conversation. I checked so far out of the conversation, his mom texted me. And I'm like, what you texting me for? Like, don't send me no emojis. Like, we don't need to communicate. There's no conversation that we can have at this pivotal point right now. Don't call me. What are you calling me for? Well, he can make both appointments. Okay, if you believe he can make both appointments, fine. He can make both appointments. And I left it at that. And I laid in my room, tried to go to sleep, tried to get my mind off of it, but I was too furious. I was extremely furious. I told you it messed up my whole night. I say that to say you have to control yourself. Now, this is one out of many situations that I have lost my cool. It hasn't been often because there are certain things that I realize about my son's mother. Now, I don't call her my baby mama. I don't call her that. I try to give her some respect. But it's a few things that I realize about my son's mother. No matter what it is, we're never going to see eye to eye. We don't have the same parenting style. One of the things I had to learn is that the way a person is raised doesn't really constitute to how they're going to raise their kids. But then their family dynamic can contribute to how they're going to raise their kids. Now that can contribute to, because her family dynamic is different. Her family dynamic is a little different. I'm not going to go into it, but her family dynamic is different. Even when we're in person, I always maintain my composure. I don't show her no emotion. everything that I say is pretty much in a real mellow tone, same tone. I don't elevate my pitch. I don't try to lower my pitch. I try to keep the conversation to a minimum. Straight answers is all I give. I just answer whatever question she asks me, straight answer. That's all I do. I try to avoid arguments. I try to not really go along to play along. Since he's majority with me, and I kind of think like how some other single mothers think, since he's majority with me, I don't really need your opinion on the route that we're going, on anything that we do. I kind of take that approach. It's not the best approach because it leaves her out of the loop on some things. So I've tried to bring her in on the loop, but I'm always met with, in my opinion, stupidity. And when I'm met with stupidity, I just cut the conversation off. I can't. We're too grown to play the tick for tack and power struggle and everything. I don't want to do that. So I want to tell everyone, and I want to make sure that you understand, as frustrating as it can be, you have to maintain your composure. Understand how your partner operates. You can't be the one flying off the handle, because once you fly off the handle, the first thing that's going to happen is your kids see you that way, and then that's going to be their understanding of how you are. The second thing is it taints the relationship that you have with them. Now, you can put them in a box. You can put them in a box, and in that box, they only have certain parameters. Now, one of the things that I used to do with my son mother is I didn't tell her a lot of my business. It wasn't about, I didn't tell her who I dated, I didn't tell her where I worked, and I didn't tell her where I lived. Those are a few things that I had in place for years until I bought my house. And then that's when I officially was like, okay, this is where I live. Like I would live in a place for about 2 or 3 years before I actually told her exactly where I lived at. So I would always meet her in a parking lot for the kid exchange, and then I would go my way, she would go hers, and that would be the end of it, because I didn't want her to know where I live at. Or I would say, hey, just meet me at my mom's house. You could pick them up from over there. Never told her where I lived at. Never told her where I worked at. To this day, she don't know where I work at, because that's my business. I like those type of parameters. The less she knows, the better. I don't want her to feel like this is a competition. And sometimes I feel like there's a power struggle between me and her, and she wants to be competitive with me. I buy a house. Oh, I got a house too, but we also talking about getting a second house. And I'm just like, okay, I mean, I really don't care. I'm just the kind of person, I really don't want to share. She can share with me all day long, because I'm going to just use it as evidence if I need to go back to court. At this point, my son is too old for me to really go back to court. Like, it's almost done. I don't really have to go back to court. So anything that she says at this point is kind of like fodder. It doesn't even matter. But those are some things, like, limit their information. Don't go over to the house, with a girl or anything like that. I mean, I've done that. Like, I've put up to drop my son off, had a girl in the car or whatever. I'll be real. I can be real disrespectful. I can be very disrespectful. She'll come up to my driver's side door. My son will get out the car, and she just be standing at my window, and I'm looking like, well, what the fuck you want to talk about? She just be standing at the window like, what the fuck? So I'll crack the window like, what's up? Oh, well, I just wanted to tell you. Okay. Well, are you having a good day? Why does that matter? Like, we don't even talk on that level. I'm just disrespectful. Like, I wouldn't even say disrespectful. I maintain a boundary between me and her and information. That's what I would call it. I'm not disrespectful. I have a boundary that is between me and her. You don't need to know about my day. You don't need to know how I'm doing. The only thing you need to know is information about the little one. That is it. That is the only information I'm sharing. I'm not sharing anything else. You don't need to know who I'm dating unless I'm marrying them. If I'm marrying them, okay, fine. Other than that, no. That's not even a topic of conversation. Or unless like something criminally or sexually happened or whatever like that, then it comes in a conversation. Other than that, there's no conversation at all. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even really care about how you're doing. I don't even care about how your family is doing. don't even care. Like, her family used to hit me up and say, hey, they wanted to see my son. And I'm like, all right, cool. You come see him anytime you want to. But then she would lie and say, well, he's out of town or he's somewhere else. Just be 100 with yourself and be 100 with your son. That's it. The best practice is limited information and conversation. That's the best practice. And if that doesn't get you nowhere, I'm going to drop another recording talking about how I utilize the courts in order to get custody of my son. Now, I've only really kind of touched bases a little bit on it, and I think I posted that video already. I posted that recording. So, but I have some more strategies that I have that talk about how to deal with the other child's parent, or how to deal with the other child's parent. So I have more recordings kind of about that. Like, it's taking me a lot. I started out paying child support. You can just imagine how frustrating that is. I have my son pretty much full time, and I still have to pay child support to a person. That's frustrating. That was frustrating in itself, and that actually, in turn, set my career on the path that it was going down. But right now, we're gonna say my favorite line, which is goodbye to farewell, Mr. Nice Guy. If you have any comments or anything that you would like to share with me, you can always email us at farewellmrniceguy@gmail.com. Anything that you want me to talk about, any opinions, I got you. Peace.